wonderful Saturday morning out here. And of course, this is Break Dawn Newspapers Review coming to you from 32 FM 94.9 this morning. My name is GBOLABO, famous scholar, and I hope I met you on a good note this wonderful Saturday morning. Quickly, let's look at what the papers are saying. And of course, I have the Punch newspaper with me this morning. There's some stories making the headlines on the front page of the Punch newspaper. We'll start off with Osun governorship sacking. That's Osun governor sacking. Adeleke PDP cry foul. Plan appeal as Oyetola hails tribunal. And of course, more stories here says I experienced racial discrimination even inside U.S. church. Ex-OAU Don is saying that my wife's donation of kidney shocked me. Idris Abdul Karim came up with that. And of course, talking about politics, why Makinde can't walk against Atiku, PDP chieftain. Right, more of the stories making headline on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning also has states 28,000 Nigerians get Canadian PR in 7 years. That's according to a report. Why UK is recruiting Nigerian teachers? Government is actually coming up with that explanation. And of course, we have here to Abuja bound train derails, passengers safe. Around more of the headlines here on the front page of the Punch newspaper also says varsity workers remanded over alleged 4 million naira fraud, and that's a 46-year-old worker with the Federal University Lokoja, Kogi State. Kennedy Wilfred was on Friday remanded in Kaba Custodian Center for alleged 4 million naira fraud. All of that are coming from the Punch newspaper this morning. And moving on very quickly to all the papers here, we have the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Let's see what the paper has up here. It talks about the Abuja Kaduna train derails in Kubwa, and that's Abuja. And of course, more of the headlines here on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. We also have Supreme Court dismisses jailed Onwabo Chase bail application. And still talking about the redesigned policy not targeted at anyone. That's what the CBN is saying. And of course, these are some of the headlines making up the Nigerian Tribune newspaper front page this wonderful Saturday morning. We have it here, keeping infidelity at bay in marriage. And of course, I want to be one of the biggest employers of labor in Nigeria. Right, these are some of the stories here. I did rituals on his behalf, stood by him during trials. Now he wants to divorce me. And that's a woman saying that. And all of that headlines is coming from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. And quickly, let's look at the Daily Independent newspaper this morning, and let's see some of the headlines on the front page of the Daily Independent newspaper. This says making money from vegetable farming business. PDP releases timetable for fresh governorship primary in Abia. NRC suspends service over Abuja Kaduna train derailment. And more of the headlines this morning also says Ake scores as Man City knock Arsenal out of FA Cup. Currency redesign, young Nigerian professionals back, and Mefele. Alright, more of the headlines here on the front page of the Daily Independent newspaper this morning says Yobe APC campaign cancel, releases timetable. Plateau State University graduates 1,356 at 6th and 7 combined. Investigation here on the front page of the paper, and more on the Daily Independent newspaper. This is featured, and this says PDP suspends a Boeing chapter chairman of Korea over alleged corruption. And of course, we also have here why Atiku INT'L IYC interaction will benefit Ijaw nation. We have a delicate sack Timi Frank blast election tribunal. Right, all of these are coming on the front page of the Daily Independent newspaper this morning. Let's quickly look at the Guardian newspaper, and of course the Guardian too has a number of headlines this morning, and this says jubilation protest in Osun as tribunal on seat Adeleke. And the story says it was a moment of jubilation and anger in Osun State yesterday as a state governorship election petition tribunal sitting in Osogbo declared former governor Adegboyega Oyetola as the winner of the July 16, 2022 governorship election. Of course, still on the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Let's see more headlines. Buhari must purge NNPCL of corruption to restore sanity in oil sector. And here we also have AFDB partners commit $30 billion to food sufficiency in Nigeria, other African countries. INEC to test beavers workability in 436 polling units nationwide. And we also have here traders orders reject ordinary notes 4 days to deadline. Marketers exploited masses through racketeering hoarding of petrol, says Napeng. And God took away my son to test my faith. Nasarawa governor is saying that Nigeria on precipice, use your PVCs to save it, also tell citizens. Alright, this is coming from some concerned Nigerians right on the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Alright, let's quickly also look at the Vanguard newspaper and let's see some of the headlines here on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. And it says federal government signs MOU with Niger Republican Kanu Maradi Rail. Hawkers sell redesigned narrow notes to Zaria Metro Park. 2023 post. 12 opposition parties back PDP in Enugu. And here we have Ake strike dumps Arsenal out of FA Cup. PDP releases timetable for fresh governorship primary in Abia. And we also have tribunal judgment to face and struggle to liberate Oshun, says Atiko. And of course, more of the headlines also says NRC shuts down Abuja Kaduna train station. And 2022 NBA power forward gets rave review. And more of the headline says minister's wife assures Akwa Ibom youth of better days under Chinimbo Shetima. And of course, these are some of the stories making the headlines on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Right now, let's look at the Daily Trust newspaper and let's see what the Daily Trust newspaper is telling us this morning. Of course, the Daily Trust newspaper says Buhari, why abandoned my first job, coming from President Muhammadu Buhari this morning. And it says President Muhammadu Buhari has opened up on his life after school and how he was forced to flee his hometown in Daura, Katsina State. Right, so talking about the Daily Trust newspaper, we also have 2023 polls, and this says Yaga Africa orders identify 22 high-risk states. All right, coming from the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, and still talking about the ordinary notes. We have here old notes, First Bank GTP to operate on Sunday. Okay, this also says new narrow notes pressure mounts on CBN to extend January 31 deadline. Okay, CBN deadline and new note circulation crisis. Funding is Kannywood's nightmare. Mansour Sadiq is saying that. And we also have here Wale Adenuga orders inducted into Comedy Hall of Fame. Right, passengers stranded as train derails in Abuja. Northern elders warn against plan to interfere with election. Tribunal sacks Adeleke, declares Oyetola winner of Osun Giwa poll. Governor Sule's eldest son dies at 36. Right, this are some of the headlines on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Quickly, let's look at the Daily Post, and this says Tribunal judgment contrary to the will of the people. Osun PDP is saying that, and the People's Democratic Party PDP has rejected the judgment of the Osun State Governorship Tribunal, which sacked Governor Ademola. And also we have here Abia PDP fixes February 4 to elect Ikone's replacement. And we also have more headlines. It says FG extends deadline for registration of digital money lenders. All right, Osun Guba Adeleke reacts after losing to Oyetola. Tribunal vows to appeal judgment. Osun Tribunal removes Adeleke as governor. Confusion is new narrow note shortage takes toll on Nigerians, and all of that are coming from the Daily Post newspaper this morning. All right, let's look at more headlines here, and of course, let's see if this will come up on the Premium Times. And of course, we have some headlines there on the front page of the Premium Times, and some of the headlines says Abuja Kaduna train derails 2 months after resuming operations. Court sacks Nigerian senator, orders fresh election. Lassa fever, Edo records 10 new cases, 3 more deaths. And updated Osun Tribunal sacks Deleke, declares Oyetola governor. All right, still on the looking at the Premium Times this morning, and there's a special report: families of slain Nigerian journalists search for justice, and of course, all of that making the headlines on the front page of the Premium Times. That's some of the headlines coming from the Premium Times this morning. Okay, let's look at the News Direct newspaper and let's see what the News Direct newspaper has for us this morning. Above the main plate, it says Afrinvest INT'L Switch Obiano UBA top 10 performing brands. And 2023, I will bring development to all sectors of Nigeria economy. Coming from Chinumbu. CBN unveils AfriGo, Nigeria's national domestic card scheme to reduce FX, that's forex demand. And more controversies show Naira swap, and that's the big story here on the front page of the News Direct newspaper this morning. And let's look at what the writers are saying on the front page of the paper. And this says, as reps, CBN banks disagree over 31st January deadline. Reps recommend Emefiele's arrest, but Abiamila threatens to sign arrest next week if Emefiele does not appear before the House of Representatives. And we also have, there is a dark horse behind the agenda investigative committee coming up with that, talking about the redesign of the Naira notes and the deadline being placed by the CBN here. And of course, those are some of the commentaries that actually are trailing this development. And we are bound by CBN's directives. House should decide. That's what Banks is saying here. Okay, still on the front page of the News Direct newspaper this morning. We'll take all the headlines there, and let's see at the bottom strip of the paper. It says Feed Africa Summit, AFDB to commit $10 billion to make continent's breadbasket of the world. Right, still on the front page of the paper, this says Fidelity Bank wins Best SME Bank Nigeria at Blue Morning. And let's look at the This Day newspaper. The This Day newspaper also appears to have some headlines there. And right above the main plate, it says Buhari fled home to join army due to pressure to get married. Says God has been very kind to him, having fought and survived many battles. And more of the headlines on the front page of the This Day newspaper says INT'L to test beavers with mock accreditation exercise February the 4th. And let's look at the writer. Assures Nigerians PVCs will be delivered to all registered voters. And the big story says Tribunal's verdict. Protest in Oshogbo as Adeleke heads to appeal court. Ayatollah celebrates. And the writer says sacked Osun governor. Annulment of my victory. Miscarriage of justice. Coming from Adeleke here. And of course, still on the front page of the This Day newspaper, derailment. NRC suspends Abuja Kaduna train service. And of course, still on the front page of the paper. And let's see this. This is NMDPRA, over 1.6 billion liters of petrol available in the country. That's right on the front page of the This Day newspaper this morning. And also we also have here still on the front page of the This Day newspaper, forestalling famine in the wake of food crisis. PDP suspends a Boeing State Chapter Chairman Okorafor. And we have federal government $6.68 billion economic losses incurred in 2022 floods. Right, and Buhari inaugurates 12 projects in Castina. Francis Saudana in Castina. President Muhammad Buhari has inaugurated 12 projects spread across the 3 sanitary districts during his 2-day official visit to his home state, Castina. The projects were inaugurated, and of course that is coming on the front page of the This Day newspaper this morning. Okay, more of the headline says Oyebandi celebrate 100 days to vows to prioritize workers, and that is coming from Ekiti State here. And more of the headline says Taraba raises alarm over invasion attacks. EU British Council constitutes conflict resolution network. And PDP, all right, we have that. Governor Sule loses eldest son Hassan at 36, and the paper has that. All right, let's look at the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, Saturday Tribune newspaper this morning. also has the story, and virtually all the papers have that particular story this morning. A joined army to escape early marriage. That's what Buhari is telling us in that story. It's on page 7. We will accept undemocratic government in May, and election must hold, not in Elders Forum. Saying that in that story is on page 7 this morning on the front page of the Saturday Tribune. And the big story here, the lit story here says, Tribunal tells Adeleke not to buga, cancels vote in 744 units, declares Oyetola Osun governor. PDP Adeleke kick, go on appeal. Jubilant Oyetola salutes judiciary. And of course, looking at the bottom strip of the paper, it says January 31 narrow deadline. And the story here has it that beggars, drivers reject old narrow notes, CBN adamant, and that is on page 4 of the paper this morning. All right, still taking more headlines. Let's move quickly to the Nation newspaper this morning. All right, the Nation newspaper also has a couple of headlines. And above the main plate this morning, that says anger, frustration over scarcity of new narrow notes as deadline looms. And let's look at what the writer is saying. CBN last day for depositing old notes is Tuesday. Okay, confusion as traders, churches, transporters reject old notes. And more of the headlines here on the front page of the Nation newspaper also says banks to open doors Saturday, Sunday for return of old notes. And POS operators make business surcharge for new notes. And of course, we have more headlines on the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning, talking about the Saturday Nation newspaper. And a big story, the lit story here says Tribunal Oyetola hails victory as Adeleke kicks, and that story is on page 4. And let's look at what the writers are saying this morning. Governor rejects judgment, heads to appeal court. Tinubu APC governors orders celebrate verdict. Why panel sacked Adeleke? Analysis is victory for beavers. And let's see judgment highlights. All right, the tribunal deducted votes from all the contestants in over 700 polling units across 10 LGAs, that's local government areas, as stated by APC. It said APC's documentary evidence that there was overvoting in the affected unit was not countered by PDP or INEC, either through oral evidence or documentary evidence. It said when INEC issued APC certified true copies of beavers an election result, it did not state that the reports were not synchronized or interim. All right. It also said INEC did not at any point during the hearing apply to withdraw the report it issued to APC, but admitted during cross-examination that it issued the report. And looking at the bottom strip of the paper this morning, Buhari Tinubu governor's orders mourn as Nasarawa State governor loses 36-year-old son. And that story is on page 2 this morning. That sentence for man who killed 4 used their intestines to cook soup. And that's on page 2 of the paper this morning. Still on the front page of the Nation newspaper that says Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, federal government shut old toll gate, beggar access for 3 months. And also that story is on page 2 this morning. INEC to conduct mock accreditation of voters nationwide. And all of that are coming on the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning. And let's look at this coming from the first news. How Adeleke won, lost Osun election. And the writer says why tribunal sacked him. Adeleke sacked, PDP supporters protest Osun tribunal's verdict. And a big story saying, I remain your governor. No majority judgment, Adeleke tells Osun people. Right, says claims over voting unfounded, verdict miscarriage of justice. Osun tribunal verdict black market judgment, says CUPP. As Tinubu relishes Oyetola's victory, says light has triumphed over darkness. Akeredolu hails Oyetola's tribunal victory. 2023 poll, close schools to allow students collect PVCs, vote, reps urge federal government. And of course we have here my father still Osun governor, Adeleke's son bursts. Scamalat, our registrar owns no social media accounts. That's what JAMB is saying. And we also have here Northern Elders warn against plan to interfere with election. Right, all of that are coming from the front page of the first news newspaper this morning. And of course, more of the headlines are here. Because the Saturday Telegraph newspaper this morning is also telling us quite a number of things this morning. And this says, my father applied priest approach to solve 1979 presidential logjam. Kinjede's daughter here in Oyo State is saying that in that story on page 18 and 22 of the paper. 3 days to go, and Lagos, Abuja, Kano, Port Harcourt, other businesses reject old notes. And because the story is on page 3 and 4 of the paper, it says, I stopped accepting old notes since Thursday. Business owner, let's hope CBN floods system with new notes before Tuesday. That's what Professor Manyugbe is saying this morning. And of course, the big story here says parties roll out war chest as poll approaches. And let's see the writer. APC launches state campaign, cancels releases logistics for mobilization. We also have PDP begins door-to-door campaigns. NNPP takes campaign towards. And we also have Labour Party to float youth sensitization shows. And more of the headline says Sanwo-Olu signs 1.76 trillion naira Lagos budget of continuity into law. And that story is on page 8 of the paper. Petrol sells between 350 naira and 600 naira per litre. Checks is saying that, and that story is on page 7 of the paper this morning. INEC holds mock accreditation February 4, and as on page 2 at the bottom strip of the paper this morning, the Saturday Telegraph is telling us judgment miscarriage of justice. I will challenge it. That's what a delegate is coming up with, and of course that story is on pages 5 and 27 of the paper. Verdict represent victory for democracy, rule of law. That's what APC is coming up with. As perversion of justice, PDP Yusuf Mahmood Ubani defer on judgment. Jubilation in Iraq BG protest in Oshobo. And of course, let's look at the last one here. Abia North constituents applaud Carlos' performance, tell opponents to withdraw. All of that are coming. All right, we'll take more headlines here on the front page. Still break at dawn, papers review coming from 32 FM 94.9. My name is GBOLABO. Famous School. Before we open the phone lines this morning, We'll take some headlines coming from the Sun newspaper this morning. And let's see this coming on the front page of the Sun newspaper that says, reject politician that will drag Nigerians back to corruption, Buhari wants. And still breaking news, Osun Tribunal nullifies a delegate's declaration. Heavy security road closed as Osun Tribunal delivers judgment. Alright, let's look at more headlines. IPOP raised alarm over worsening situation of Kano's health. Ebony Abga appoints campaign DG media director. And new naira notes rush as long queues of customers flood banks. Federal government committed to eradicating sea piracy, other crimes. That's what minister is saying. INEC to hold mock accreditation February 4. Minister of Niger Delta Affairs suspension signatories the soon letter. And we also have here Rivers senatorial poll judgment in SDP suit against INEC stalled. There will never be ASU strike under my watch. That's what Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, is saying. Group kicks as Okowa gets Assembly's nod for 120 naira at 120 billion naira loan. Right, more of the headlines on the front page of the Sun newspaper this morning also has military vows to deal with those plotting to scuttle elections, talking about the 2023 elections itself. And of course, we have more headlines there on the front page of the Sun newspaper this morning. Okay, and of course, let's look at this. Still on the front page of the Sun newspaper, this says businesses, customers reject old notes as CBN's January 31 deadline closes in. And of course, the story is telling us this morning that many businesses are not actually accepting those old notes once you want to get items. And it says, as the deadline for the cessation of old notes closes in, many businesses, owners and customers across Lagos have started rejecting the old notes for fear of being caught up by the CBN directive possession of the note. This is coming after CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele insisted that January 31st deadline remains sacrosanct for old notes. And that appears to be one of the stories making the headlines on the front page of the Sun newspaper this morning. And let's see if we could take more headlines here. Of course, still talking about the tribunal judgment in Osun State. Let's take a look at this. Okay, and this says, okay, this is coming from Obasanjo. No leader can create new Nigeria overnight. That's what Obasanjo is saying as Wike wants on truncating 2023 polls. And let's see this. Former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo said no leader can create a new Nigeria overnight, stressing that ascension to political offices does not empower incumbents to destroy the policies and programs of their predecessors. He spoke yesterday at the International Conference on Deepening Democratic Culture and Institutions for Sustainable Development and Security in Nigeria in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. And of course, Obasanjo said it does not matter the party a predecessor belonged to, but that new leaders should sustain the policies and projects of their predecessors as long as the programs are in the interest of people. All right, this is some of the headlines some of the things making up the headlines this morning. Looking at some national dailies in Nigeria. We'll open the phone lines right about now. The numbers are 070550949, or you could call 080-970-949. The numbers again are 070550949 or 080-970-949. Of review this morning. All right, still taking commentaries from some of the headlines coming from the papers this morning. Okay, on the front page of some of the newspapers this morning. And let's look at this. This is coming from the Guardian newspaper this morning. And of course, this says jubilation process in Osun as tribunal sits a delegate. Okay, and still on the front page of the paper, let's also see this. This also says customers seizes weapons, hard drugs worth 1.8 billion naira at the Can port. All right, we have traders orders reject old notes 4 days to deadline. And these are some of the headlines making up the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning. All right, let's see some of the comments, if you could get any comment here on Facebook. Okay, and of course the number is to call. I guess we have a caller here. Okay, hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning. What's the name and where you calling us from?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. On the election is what I want to talk about. I give kudos to the National Assembly for passing the Electoral Act. The Electoral Act will bring sanity to our election. How can somebody imagine he can win election by bribing people or buying votes? I think this will stop vote buying, because that has caused any cases victory. Because he bought votes, he thought he would stay true. Now the beavers has actually bumped that thinking of theirs or his. I give kudos to the National Assembly for passing the Electoral Act that will surely bring sanity to our elections, and also congratulate the judiciary for standing far on upholding the dictates of the Electoral Act. God bless Nigeria. My name is Shola from Akwete.
All right, thank you so much, Shola, for actually calling into the program this morning. It's still Break It Dawn Papers Review coming from 32 FM 94.9. My name is GBOLABO, famous call, and we're taking more calls this morning. All right, hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, my sister.
Good morning.
All
right, please go ahead.
The court had it between Solar and the Electric. It's a welcome development. And I'm appealing to all the candidates that believe they will bring the election for coming election. It's please for very much. Because the that machine will never allow anybody. There's no room for rigging in this coming election. You should work for it. People are ready to focus on their voting and vote for the right candidate. So there won't be room for rigging. Thank God. We give kudos to President Mahmoud Buhari and the INEC, and also the judiciary. They are doing a job. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Omobasharon, for calling into the program this morning. The numbers are still 070-550-949, or you could call 080-970-949. And of course, you could drop your comment also on Facebook. All right, let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, this is Bright.
All right. Bright, where are you calling us from?
From Ibadan, New Garage.
All right, please go ahead.
Concerning the Oyetola declaration as a winner of this election, I believe in a working state or a working country where the law is abided. The INEC, who initially declared Adeleke, should be sent to the prison. But in the final judgment, maybe this Adeleke will also appeal. Or the declaration, Oyetola go back to his office as a punishment to INEC. INEC is misleading the state and causing management and waste of funds. So I decree that the National Assembly should also amend the law that will suit that area so that INEC will be very careful when declaring. This is what called incompetency on their side.
All right.
That is all of.
Thank you so much for calling in. Okay, and that's right. The numbers again are 070-55000 and of course 080-970-949 to call into.
Bravo, good morning.
Good morning.
This is okay.
All right, please go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, over the Osun election, I have not really been able to go through to understand, but I actually thought with the beavers, overvoting could easily be detected before announcement. How come it's actually after that we are now talking about overvoting? So in other words, literally everything we have does not have a total, foolproof, how will I put it? You understand what I'm saying?
All right.
Yeah. So now, if we now talk about this, looking forward, probably INEC should sit up for the presidential and the other governorship election. And for sure, the person that I've lost, well, he said he's going to appeal.
I think let's watch what the court will do over that issue. And please, on the issue of the house, saying schools should close, I deliberately did not talk about it yesterday. GBOLABO, it tells you the politicians we have. With the whole problems we have, they are more interested in politics. They are that's what is bothering us.
Wow.
God save us from this set of people. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for calling in. Okay, hello, good morning.
Yeah, GBOLABO, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, John calling from Ibadan here.
All right, please go ahead, John.
Now, that means for election, that means Beavers is not working. That is it. Now, at the end, if it is true that Oyetola win that election, all the money he spent over it, INEC should refund it. INEC should pay him back for them not doing the right job. Just like what Oke said about closing school because of ordinary election. You will lock your school because of ordinary election. Why school will be going on in Ghana and they will be voting. Is it not shameful? Is it not shameful? Why is it that election here is do or die? Why? Everything about us here is problem. Why are we like that? We always like to go backward. Why? There. Wonderful day.
All right, thank you so much, John, for calling into the program. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, my sister.
Good morning.
This is John Olariwaju from Agbo.
All right, please go ahead, John.
Thank you. On the issue of tribunal verdict on the fall of Oyetola, to me, I just want to tell the people of Osun State to just calm down. So, the Adeleke said able to be happy, fine. But you're not supposed to be that. Yeah, after the people have make up their mind that this is where they are going, at the end of the day, court will now change the mandate of the people. I don't think that it's a good one for our democracy. I know because it's part of democracy, but I think we need to look at it very well, very critical, so that we will not turn to what is happening in Imo State now. That's for that one. For the Mr. President, on his statement concerning the issue of new Naira note, Mr. President said it, and I add it in one interview, that 3 months is enough for the new Naira note, for the people to have the new Naira note. My question is this new Naira note for people collecting started December 15th. Is it up to 3 months now? Because I don't even understand that comment coming from Mr. President. 3 months is enough for people to have the new Naira note. Is it up to 3 months that we have decided to finish this new Naira note? I think people should hold Mr. President this statement, because not up to 3 months. Thank you. Good morning.
All right, thank you so much, John Olariwaju there calling in. And of course, the numbers are still 070-55000. 949, or you could call 080-970-949. And let's quickly look at what the comments are on Facebook. And this is from Raji Afiz Abiola. Raja says, good morning, GBOLABO. About the Osun Election Tribunal judgment, honestly, I need to work on the beavers if truly they want to conduct free, fair and credible election, because I wonder who this machine was manipulated during that election itself. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, my sister.
Good morning. What's the name and where are you calling us from?
Mr. Abiodun from Monia.
All right, please go ahead.
As regards to the Osun election, I believe there is judgment without justice. And I want to assure you, though I'm not part of, but you know, the way things is being done in this country is alarming. I don't understand that somebody can just wake up at the middle of night and just decide and just put that decision on the people as if there's no even law anymore. But I believe justice will be done on this Osun election. I want to assure you that. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much for calling into the program this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's the name of your
from Manara.
All right, please go ahead.
Thank you. See, my own question about Vivas is that does Vivas invalidate the actual voters register on election day? That's the question that I need to answer. About that option, don't forget that it's a 3 process. Only 1 process has been completed, which is tribunal. So it remains the appeal and the Supreme Court. But what I mean is that this history will still repeat itself. In 2018, I didn't see one in tribunal, but at appeal and Supreme, they lost. But what I mean is that the good people of Osun, they should calm down. My own prayer for them is that the God Almighty that allows to see the base of Omito here in Oyo State, we allow the knowledge to prevail in Osun. That's my own take.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in. And of course, we have to pay some bill this morning. And we'll go on this short commercial and we'll be back right on Break It Down Papers Review.
Stay tuned to 32 FM 94.9.
Ilẹ̀kùn tún ti ṣí fún gbogbo ọmọ Ọlọ́run láti bá wa ṣe ìrìnàjò lọ sílẹ̀ mímọ́ Jerúsálẹ́mù nínú àkànṣe ìrìnàjò mímọ́ tí wòlíì Ọlọ́run alààyè Prophet Sam Olúalọ́bàbá Adámimógo máa léwájú ẹ̀ nípasẹ̀ iléeṣẹ́ You Fit Fly àti iléeṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́ Grace of Mercy Prayer Mountain. Adámimógo ló ṣàgbékalẹ̀ ọjọ́ 12 sí ọjọ́ 19 oṣù kẹfà ọdún yìí ló máa wáyé. Gbogbo àyè tá a dárúkọ nínú Bíbélì látùjọ fojú kan bí odò Jọ́dánì, òkè Síónì, òkè Kapanamon, Násárẹ́tì tàti bí Jésù àti ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àyè tá a lè dárúkọ tó. Kódà ilẹ̀kùn àǹfààní tún ṣí sílẹ̀ fún gbogbo ẹni tó wà lókè òkun láti bá bàbá Adámimógo lọ sí ìrìnàjò yìí pẹ̀lú màmá Ṣìndára Evangelist Bísí Aláwìyé Àlùkò. Ìwọ náà má gbẹ̀yìn, tètè lọ forúkọ sílẹ̀ lónìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ka ilé ìjọsìn Grace of Mercy Prayer Mountain Adámimógo tàbí kẹ́ẹ̀kan sáwọn ọ́fíìsì You Fit Fly wọ̀nyí: Success House, 7 Up Road, Olúyọ̀lé Main Estate, Ring Road, Ìbàdàn. Fún àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ ẹ máa pè 0703 673 9432. Ìrìnàjò mímọ́ sí Jerúsálẹ́mù pẹ̀lú bàbá Adámimógo, èmi ò ní gbẹ̀yìn ńbẹ̀.
Are you looking for a quality hybrid of solar and wind? Solar panel, inverters, street lights, wind turbine, batteries. Well, look no further. Greater Light Power Limited is here to serve you with uninterrupted power generation, which makes them different from others. Greater Light Power Limited offers American-trained engineers for your installations. Contact Greater Light Power Limited at number 2 Ojo Badon Avenue, Old Bodija, Ibadan. For more information, call 0805-852-1994, 0817-759-5000. Website www.greaterlightpowerlimited.com. Greater Light Power Limited, bringing you a brighter life.
Do you know the deadline for PVC collection is a few days away? Get your PVC today and exercise your civic rights. This message is powered by 32 FM.
bójú bá ń ṣe pin àmọ́ ń yọ hàn ni ojúkòrò wọn ní kì í pojúkòrò jẹ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ọ̀rọ̀ kì í sì tóbi jù ká fọ̀bẹ bú ẹnu làá fi sọ ìdí làá fi jókòó àmọ́ ṣá o tọ́rọ̀ bá kọlẹ̀ tó kòkè àwọn àgbà ní ó tún níbi tá à ń gbé e kà tó bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ lọ fọkàn balẹ̀ gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ tó bá rójú yálà àhesọ tó ń jà rìnrìn ni tàbí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ àbáàdì ó lè jẹ́ òṣèlú ètò ọrọ̀ ajé ẹ̀ka amúlùdùn eré ìdárayá kódà ó lè jẹ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀sìn gbogbo tó bá wù ó jẹ́ tó bá ṣáà ti jẹ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ẹnu làá fi sọ lórí ètò gbàgede ọ̀rọ̀ ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Ìṣẹ́gun Tuesday ní dédé aago 11 òwúrọ̀ lórí ètò gbàgede ọ̀rọ̀ lèmi àtẹ̀yìn a ti máa gba oríṣiríṣi àlejò ńlá jàǹkànjàǹkàn tí ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń lọ nígboro bá kàn ẹnu oníkàn ṣáà ni wọ́n ní àti ń gbọ́ pọ̀n ń gbàgede ọ̀rọ̀ ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Ìṣẹ́gun láago 11 pẹ̀lú àfùdá Samuel àjọmọ́ àṣẹ ni.
32 FM 94.9.
Welcome back to the Break It Down Papers Review here on 32 FM 94.9. And of course, we're taking more calls this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's the name and where are you calling us from?
This is Olu from LA.
All right, please go ahead, Olu.
You see, this Osun State Tribunal result or verdict
is giving me concern. Why do I say this? If we can experience this at the state level, then what happens in 2023 presidential election? I hope this will not plunge this country into crisis. You will recall that even INEC has come out initially that the system was hacked or to be hacked. And the truth is, as far to Asia, who are those behind it? What has INEC done to prevent this? God bless Nigeria.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in. God bless Nigeria. Okay, let me take more comments on Facebook this morning. And this is coming from Tulokpe Adeyemi. It says, good morning. It's now obvious that this current APC-led federal government is not proactive at all in anything that concerns the government. Risen to the occasion and ensure it does not happen again. But it's so disheartening that we currently have the wrong people at the ends of affairs. All right, let's take this. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Bella.
Good morning.
This is from you.
All right, please go ahead, Sean.
It was on this program I said these are what they call it, our storage facility. It is the INEC that gives INT'L what they extract from the storage facility of this machine. And to not compare it with the voting. There is overvoting. When you listen to the tribunal judgment, you see there is overvoting in some units. It is not overvoting that they used to sack a delegate. People should listen to the tribunal. They go and look at the tribunal judgment. If it is in favor of PDP, people will not be saying what they are saying. INEC should be responsible for this. They should pay $1 money and they should pay what all money and delegate have collected from Oshu. They should pay it to Oshu State because they did not do their own work very well. They should please do it very well for presidential election. Have a nice time.
All right, thank you so much for calling in. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning to you. All right, we'll take more comments here on Facebook. And Omo Bashir Abiola says, top of the morning to you on the court verdict. Okay, still taking Omo Bashir's right up here. It says, on the court verdict between Oyetola and Adeleke, honestly, it's a welcome development because Governor Adeleke was sacked due to overvoting and at some local government, precisely in Ede, his hometown local government. All right, let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. What's the name and where are you calling us from?
I'm about to Shobula.
All right, please go ahead.
You see, from my own point of view, I think judiciary will destroy democracy in Nigeria. One, you know what happened in Kogi before they sworn in this present government here? When the results are already been declared that Audu has won election.
Right.
Now, hello?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Yes. Look at what happened in Imo State. From number 1 to number 4. This is association. This is the second time to rob this man. I believe it. It's the second time of robbing this man. If guy is not taking judiciary, will destroy democracy in Nigeria. That's my comment. It's a miscarriage of justice.
All right. Thank you so much for calling into the program. It's still breaking down newspapers review here on 32 FM 94.9. My name is GBOLABO. If you must call. Yes, hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
John Olaruwaju. Good morning.
All right,
John Olaruwaju. Please, I just want to use this opportunity, just appeal to the CBN governor to change his mind and Mr. President, because it's not going to help this nation. Because if they stick on the 34th deadline day, I think they will expect what they did not, they will see what they did not expect, because it's not going to be easy at all for anybody. But I believe that maybe before Monday or Monday, I know they will change their mind and they will extend the day. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, John, for calling back on the program. The numbers are still 070-55000 949 or 080-97000 Hello, good morning.
Hello, I'm Shegun back. You don't talk about the verdict of Supreme Court of Bayelsa. When somebody that has over 400,000 votes was sacked, and the present governor has over 100,000. People should not they should not stop in the judiciary. Judiciary is fat and those and gentlemen, fat and figures. They should leave judiciary alone. Politicians should do their duty. Have a nice time.
All right, thank you so much for calling in. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
All
right, please go ahead.
All right, my own contribution is based on environment. With what is happening, I think the CBN governor, I'm in support of what he's doing, but my own problem is that why is it that the new money is not in bank? So you cannot give instruction and sit in your office. So why can't you move out, go for committee, go inside all these banks and know why is it that the money is not out? You keep on saying that the money is out, is inside the bank, and people will go to the banks and be complaining there is no naira note. It's unfair. Let him move out. If there's any other happening, let us know. If they are holding the money, let us know. Let him give the necessary fine and let's move forward. He can't sit down and say there is money in bank. And by 31st, the thing will end. So that's my own contribution. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in. And of course, it's still breakdown paper review here on 32 FM 94.9. And of course, it's 56 minutes past the hour of 6 this morning. And we're taking more calls before rounding up the conversation this morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Do we have a caller here? All right, the numbers again are still 070-550-949 and 080-7,949 for you to call into the program this morning. And of course, many people appears to be more concerned about the redesign of the Naira note. And we're also looking at the fuel scarcity, and virtually some of the papers touched on that this morning. All right, let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, please go ahead.
My name is Shola again from Africa.
All right, please go ahead.
On the new Naira note, I think the bank managers should be investigated. The central bank keep saying that they have sent this new notes to banks, and the bank managers are holding it. Maybe they are selling it to highest bidders, taking commissions in millions. Then it is the bank managers that are putting people into suffering. I don't think it is the fault of the central bank. But when the EFCC or DSS take action, people will be shouting. Now, they are now making people to suffer. Now, the deadline is very close. Methods are not taking the old notes again. In my area, in Akwete, you cannot buy food stock with old notes. Nobody will attend to you. People are suffering. The bank managers are responsible and go and punish anybody who is putting his fellow human beings into suffering.
All right, we mustn't actually release courses this morning. Thank you so much for your thoughts. All right, let's take this from Facebook, and I think I have Raji Afiz Abidemi here. He says, good morning, Bolabo. I'm not happy this morning at all because of this new policy is not smiling with me at all. Scarcity of fuel and scarcity of new Naira notes. Meanwhile, Ahmed Bola Tinubu's statement, why not bad voice out? There is going to be a problem on Monday at our banks with this old Naira notes. Those are concerns being raised by Rajiv there on Facebook. All right, hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Sima. My name is Chris from Ulugweru.
All right, please go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, the problem people are having most now is that the 1,000 Naira we are able to get from the bank, we cannot spend it because we would not have change. If you give them the 1,000 Naira, if you want change, they will give you the old one. And if you refuse, you will not be able to buy anything. That is one problem we are having. Then secondly, the Osun State judgment, I know that some people will complain. Even God does not satisfy us. We complain against God, Papa. I don't know why somebody should. I expect that. But I think they have done their job. Because the people that are on the bench, they are not stupid people. They have looked at everything. The agents were there when we are checking it unit by unit, word by word, to know where there is overvoting. And they were started deducting it. They were agreeing with each other. It is true, but it is on the total calculation. They now discovered that, this one is the one that actually wins. I don't know what the people's argument is. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling in. And these are last caller for this morning. All right, unfortunately we couldn't pull through, and this one, okay, let's take this as our last caller this morning. Hello, good morning.
Well, thank you very much. I'm Abiodun calling back from Monera.
All right, please go ahead quickly.
You see, my grievance is that what is even good about this APC, that one would say, I want to even vote for them. Honestly, there's nothing good at all. Are you talking about economy, the security? What can you say that is good about APC? Honestly, I'm tired of this nonsense of APC. They buy judiciary, they buy everything. There was a time in, I think, when they were still calling, when I still called them the ACN, between this former governor for your Osun State, that I was governor in Lagos State before. I forgot the man name. Between him and that man from Elisha that left before this INT'L came. You know, the man was telling me that they have seen the results. I was thinking maybe he was joking. And the day they gave the judgment, it came in favor of ACN then. So when since that time I've been thinking, for what is happening in Nigeria? There are some people can even boast that they have seen the results, and eventually the result came out in favor of them. I don't understand this Nigeria called APC. Honestly, it's alarming. It's giving me a headache. Honestly.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your kind thoughts this morning, and that's the much we can take on Break of Dawn Papers Review this wonderful morning on 32 FM 94.9. To join us Monday again for another turn of paper review. My name is GBOLABO. Famous School. Do stay tuned with us. Bye for now.